You should be able to hear me now. Unfortunately, I don't know what's happened there. I've now got just a very basic sound system, but let me just what I will do is I will come to this one now. I think it's because basically I switched the screen down, so let me just go to this. Hello everybody, that's the down cam, more lights and everything else, but I'm going to disconnect this. Sounds back, great, thanks Craig. Normal technical issues. Let's just try and plug that in, and we'll try and do that again. We'll try our sound. Give me a second, because that's probably a little bit very echoey. Hello Ian, yes you can hear me now, that's great, okay, thank you. Right, let's just see if we've got some sound now. Let me just try this. Have we got sound now? Is that clearer? And that should be a lot better now. So we should have some proper sound as well from a microphone. So yes, and that's good. So welcome along. If you've not joined before, this is now going to be our Monday night stint of sort of technical tomfoolery, should we say, and what have you. Yeah, I know about the video. I thought the video might be lagging, so what I'll do is if I go to this second camera now, you should find that there's no lagging at all, and I should be okay. But it's just not as clear as what we'd like it to be. But hey ho, we'll go to this one and we'll stick with this one. So here we go. This is our first presentation. So this is on soldering. Tools and practicing. For anyone that was listening, hopefully we should be okay now. If you can hear me okay, drop me a little comment and make sure I'm not lagging or anything and that everything's nice and clear now. But I am using my iPhone to send this, and yeah, that's what I thought it would be. No lag on the down cam, so that means my old special camera's all going out the window then as of tonight. So we'll start off with our presentation. Let's not should we say lag around. So we'll do our little hellos as we normally do, and we'll see who's on board, and you can say your hellos in a moment. But the tools were required. And then we'll talk about some health and safety considerations, joining two wires, and then some splice connections as well. So we'll show you the little video that I did first of all. So let's get you into on the comments thing, and I'll get rid of myself off that horrible off that thing there. There you can see me a little bit better now. Hopefully that'll be not as laggy. And we can see the comments. So if you wanna give yourselves your shout out, then you can quite easily just drop yourselves a little comment in there. Let's see your hellos. So if you're on board now, let's see if we can see you saying your hellos on there, so we can see that Craig's on. I know that I know we've had a sound issue. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, Ian's on there. Hi, Ian. Welcome on board. I can see Chris is down there. Unfortunately, we had Chris as an interview tonight, but congratulations to him. He's now an uncle. He's just his sister's just had a little baby. So congratulations to Chris. Yeah, leave some comments. Hi, Anthony. Nice to see you. Nice. To coin a phrase. Right. Well, what we'll do is I want to crack on because I'm away on, as you can see, I'm not in my normal room. Pineapple belongs on pizza. Yes, okay. All right, Craig. Pineapple does belong on pizza. Let's leave it there, shall we? Right, let's crack on with our presentation. So I'm just gonna push that button there. So the tools are required. Let's click on with that. So the things that we'll need, and all our bits and bobs that you'll require as well. So soldering iron, gas or electric, wire strippers and cutters, wire cutters, a soldering pad. Really important, I think, to have a soldering pad. It's one of those. I think it's one of those it's one of those items that really get forgotten off a lot of, should we say, tool lists and stuff. And that is the old soldering pad, definitely. Solder, we'll talk about the solder as well. Amalgamating tape, and heat shrink, insulation tape, and cloth tape as well. Okay, and also, if you like, because we talk about this on another evening possibly, fleece tape, because there's a difference between cloth and fleece tape. So a bit of health and safety to start us all off. Soldering iron is hot. Okay, it's quite obvious, isn't it? Solder contains a colophony called rosin as well. So you'll need gloves, a face mask, and adequate ventilation as well. I'll tell you what. Let's put myself on a photo. Let's see if I can do a bit of technical stuff now. Let's see if I can add myself in as a camera. Okay, let's just see if we can do this then. So I press that button there. Oh, look at that! Look, you see, I'm getting clever at this now, aren't I? Really, to be fair. Here we go. Let's put a little square. There, it's me. There we go. So we'll put ourselves in the corner down here. Hopefully, we won't get in the way. So adequate ventilation is required because of this colophony, otherwise known as rosin as well. So you should be wearing gloves, or just get out in the open with a soldering iron and get out in the open. Make sure that you open all the windows on the vehicle, just so that this is quite it's quite nasty stuff at the end of the day. So some considerations before soldering. Well, looking at that, your solder melting point. What is the melting point? Of the solder, and that's really important as part of the soldering iron. Will the soldering iron have the right working temperature? Because the working temperature should be set at about 150 degrees Celsius above the solder melting point. If it's not hot enough, the solder won't travel, and it won't. Which is called watering. And if it's too hot, you'll get fumes, overheating of the flux. There's a bit of an issue with this when you talk about gas soldering irons. So it's great that they do change. You can change the temperature, but because you can't change the temperature, because you can change the temperature, you've got to really adjust it so it's the right temperature for the solder that you're working with. Ambient temperature can have an effect on the solder, so if it's really freezing cold outside, that can make it a bit difficult. And then the next thing that has to be considered is the gauge and the construction of the cable. Is it tin plated like the waterproof type? Is it what is the consistency of the copper? What gauge is it? And then also to bring into that is the age of the cable. If the cable's a little bit older than normal, that'll take its toll on the soldering. So I'm going to show you our soldering video that I've done before. So I'll leave you with this. Hi folks. So this is a quick demonstration on how to do some soldering. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to join these two cables together. So apply a bit of, already done already, apply a bit of heat shrink over the end of the cable. Strip back about 15 to 20 millimeters of cable, both sides. And then what you need to do is splay the cable back, like so. Splay that cable back as well. And then when they're splayed, simply cross over and twist them around each other. So there's no spikes. The soldering iron's now nicely warmed up. So all we do is start it off gently on the soldering iron, get a bit of solder on the soldering iron. Once you've got the solder on the soldering iron, you should then gently go through the cable. Start in the middle and work your way out to the edges. So you've got a nice little joint like so. We'll leave our soldering iron on over there. So as you can see now, that's nicely joined up. It's nice and shiny. And then wait for it to gently cool down. And then when it's ready, just put a bit of heat shrink over, and then gently heat up the heat shrink. Try not to scorch it. Like so. To make a splice connection, or T-joint as they would like to call it, firstly there's your supply cable, so this is going to be my supply donor, and then on your cable that you're going to splice off, strip back the cable the same length, around about 20 millimeters, and then what you need to do is to tin up the supply. This avoids dry joints. With that over, then you then twist the cable from your device around that main cable, and then tin up that joint like so. The great thing about that is you haven't overheated that cable up too much. Apply some amalgamating tape. And then apply some cloth tape to fully seal that joint. Well, there you go. That's the demonstration over. So some of the things to take from there, and this was part of my talk about with Chris at Solder King, because what we were going to then talk about was we were going to have a little chat about the Milwaukee soldering iron. You know, have a chat about how it works. How do you find the soldering iron? You know, let us know. You know, give us some comments about the Milwaukee soldering iron. I've heard that there's been issues working in large gauge cable, working in colder environments, because the working temperature is 400 degrees Celsius. So if you're kind of using a solder which is on the borderline of like sort of the 250 mark, the issue that you have there is that it may not, because of the ambient temperature differences, and with the thicker gauge cable, it may not you know, solder this correctly. So it's ideal to look at a solder with a lower melting point, and you know, and that's where we come into the solder, and that was where we're going to have a conversation with Chris. But we will talk a little bit about it. But the other thing was the warranty, and that was this came from our friends at Milwaukee, and that was this: is if you have got one of these Milwaukee soldering irons, absolutely, for goodness sake, if you haven't done it already, make sure that you register for that warranty. Definitely register for the warranty, because if you do not register for that warranty, it's null and void. Trust me on this. You know, and that came from the guys at Milwaukee. So definitely, you know. Other than that, you know, I've got my Milwaukee soldering iron. I think it's, you know, a really good, you know, a really good tool. And this is where I was going to have our interview with Chris. Unfortunately, Chris, as I say, he's got a little niece. I think it was niece. Sorry, Chris, if that was wrong. He's got a little niece now, just been born, so he's now a very proud uncle. Congratulations, Chris, and congratulations to your sister, more importantly. But one of the things he was talking about was, you know, the type of solder and the consistency of solder, and some of the comments that, you know, that came from our conversations before about wetting. When you talk about wetting of solder, it's basically how well it liquefies through the solder joint and how quickly it runs. That's one of the key parts about making sure that you get the right solder. A low spatter, so if it spits and stuff, it doesn't really leave a very good joint, so you need to make sure it's a low spatter solder. Make sure that there's no red, and with the being a low spatter, there's no residues, so it's very clean and clear. A low odor solder as well, and then, you know, cosmetics, what it looks like, you know, at the end, and really that's it. But well, what we'll do, we've now got that point where we can now open up our question and answer session. So please, you know, feel free to leave any comments, because I'm just going to press my comments button and go over to here, and then we'll just expand this out a little bit. There we go. So let's have a look and see who we've got on here then. Yes, okay, pineapple belongs on pizza. Okay, Craig, yeah, thanks for that, Craig. Paul said hello. Hi Paul, hope you're well, hope things are good for you now. Chris is on as well. Hi Chris, hope you're well. Sophie's on, welcome on board Sophie, lovely to see you again, love. Dave Redfern, he's on as well. Jez is on as well. Hello Jeremy, welcome on board. As I say, comment from Anthony here, the temperature of the gas too. Yes, absolutely, temperature of the gas is very important. Billy's on as well. Good evening, Billy. Paul's on. Hi Paul, how are you? Hope you're well. And I think these are the comments that lead on to about the what's we call it, the soldering irons, the Milwaukee soldering iron. Sorry about that. Much better than gas. Had Portasol before. Only downside is the weight if you're using bigger batteries and a lot of soldering at once. Agreed. I've only got the two smaller soldering batteries, so I've not actually used. I have not actually tried the big ones. Let us know. See what you think about. Leave your comments about the big one, and are you still using the smaller one? Billy's on. Best iron I've ever had, but still keep a gas one for backup. Agreed. I've actually still got my what is it? Yeah, it's an Eroder. I still got my Eroder soldering iron as a backup as well. John Martinez is on. Evening, John. Hope you're well. Hope you're well too. I've also moved to Solder King wire after the last video on this. Oh well, that's nice. It's brilliant stuff. Glad I bought it. Nice to hear that, Jez. I'm sure Chris will be wanting to hear that as well. Thank you. Craig, it's great to know the appropriate temperatures, but when we don't know what temperature the iron is running at, except for max temp or off, no idea in between, but then it's down to judgment. Yeah, the one thing to say though, Craig, is the gas you can't. That's one of the benefits of having the electric soldering iron. It is 400 degrees straight on. But with a gas soldering iron, you don't you don't have that control, unfortunately. So you're constantly trying to guess what temperature it's working at, and if it's too hot, it will melt the solder too much, and you'll get an overburn of flux. And if it's not hot enough, then obviously the solder doesn't sort of wet. It's the wetting of the solder is not as good. Comments. Billy, big battery makes more stable for standing. Good tip. I like that, Billy. Yeah, that's a really good tip. Yeah, that's it really. Well, I tell you what. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. It's been really nice to be back as well. But please tell all your mates and please tell all your friends about this. Next week, next week I'm going to be away again, so you'll be seeing me on this sort of room malarkey again. If you actually saw the setup I've got here, you would laugh your head off. I've got a side table lamp on its side over here, and I've also got a lamp over here, a little lamp over here that's now decided to fall to bits as well. But listen, folks, really appreciate you watching. But as I say, make sure that you let everybody know about this. And it's great to have you on board. Let's just hope. Oh, we've got some more comments. That's great. I've got 4 6 amp batteries, and they're brill. Not got any smaller ones though. Oh, okay, lovely. All right, thanks, Jez. Propane, butane working for me well as well. John, yes. Like I say, I think it's been proven. I've got the eroder soldering iron as well, and you know, when the batteries go on mine, which they do, because unfortunately I've only got the 2 smaller ones, you know, I do end up having to go back to my good old trusty eroder soldering iron as well. Right, well, that's it for tonight, folks. As I say, you know, please leave your comments after this as well when it's not live, and thanks ever so much for watching. Oh, Anthony's left another comment as well. I use the 9 amp. Great, thank you, Ant. But thanks very much for watching. Next week, I haven't made a decision yet what we're doing, but I'd imagine that we'll be doing something around about connectors, because we haven't done one on connectors for a while. But we'll see. We'll have a look. But if you've got any comments about what we should be doing, our live stream on, leave them in the comments now. Let's have a look and see if there are any ideas that we can go with moving forward. And I'm more than happy to have a chat about it for definite. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. I will see you all next week. See you then. Good night.